Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Sam Crack. This is the 2011 Corvette Grand Sport. It's the car that you guys have been asking about for a long time. In our last update, we finally got the car running after what we thought could have been a disaster, but it runs and it runs excellent. There's just a few more things to do left on this car, and I'm gonna start by kind of assessing what things need to be done and also install a few little hardware pieces I got. If you see that box right there, I just picked those parts up from the dealership. Nothing too exciting. So let's hop to the front of the car and let's get to work. So on the driver's side, there's like this fender liner cover, and the fender goes over this. But this one has a lot of play, and I could imagine if you're driving and the suspension travels a little bit, this thing is going to be moving. It's just not good. If we come over to the passenger side, you can see there's little to no play in this one. That's what we want, and that's likely because this seam right here on the driver's side has completely been separated. I'm guessing that in the accident it just broke loose. Now there's just a little bit of resin or epoxy that goes in between there and keeps that shut, and when that is glued, this thing isn't going to move at all. So I'm going to start by gluing this back where it goes. There's stuff all over my hands. This is actually pretty light in comparison to what I've seen like in the past. But anyway, I've went ahead and I put all the epoxy behind there, and I've just got it clamped. I'll let that sit for a long while. Now, there's these two cups that were removed, which I think is strange. I could understand from this side, but I don't know why this side was removed, but they basically fit underneath here where the headlight goes on there. And I don't think that I need to wait for anything, and especially since I have the glue coming out of the tube already, and I've already made a mess, I better just go and do it. But you can see on each side, see this one says, if it will focus, LH for left hand, and so that one's gonna go in here like that, and that will give us kind of that reinforcement there we need for the broken part. So let's go ahead and glue these in, and then we'll let them dry and we'll move on to other stuff there. All right, my hands are getting more filled with epoxy, which means that we're making a little bit of progress. I glued this on based off of where all of the resin was before. So it should be pretty accurate, it should be lined up. And like I said, right here is our broken part. It broke from here to here. This should give us a little bit more support. While we're waiting on everything to dry up over in that corner, we're gonna move to the engine bay where I've got a little plastic shield and some isolators I've got to install. And then we're gonna come over here where the ECU goes. I picked this up from the dealership. This is where the ECU mounts. We're gonna figure out how all that goes, make sure it's nice, and then we could test fit, not the bumper yet because we need the headlights for that, the fenders right here, which have these gray stripes on, which are pretty neat. Let's get to it. Geez, that took long enough, and I don't even want to put the intake back because this darn sticker is really stuck on here. I'm gonna get some Goo Gone or something and remove that. So basically I put in the new, that's what they call like a radiator support in this car. Here's the old one, and it looks the same, right? But where it mounts, completely cracked off. So in the accident, when things got hit underneath, it must have pushed up, breaking that upwards, and why I just decided to replace this. Now this piece I think was around $100, $150. Not cheap for a little piece of plastic. And then this is where you find out where you need more parts. Right here is obviously something where I think the intake probably mounts to it. Right here. And so these need to come out of that and then transfer them to there. And I'm missing one of the isolators here. So that's probably another, $5, $6 from the dealership. We'll figure that out. But before we go ahead and test fit the fender, over here, this is one of those pieces that came in the car and I'm totally puzzled by. I mean, it makes sense that this is like goes in front of underneath the wheel is a duct, and then this is sucking air up obviously and putting air into the engine bay, and there's a part number right there. I've seen it where these cars come from auction and somebody just threw a random part in them that don't belong to the car whatsoever, and when I was underneath the car I didn't see anything. And if you look kind of in the front of this car, it is strange because the air intake filter sits right there and it's really not sucking up any cold air from anywhere. So what I'm going to do really quick is Google this part number that's right there and actually find out whether this part belongs to this car. Wow, this is pretty darn neat. So the first search result is that it's a wheel brake duct, and then if we go to the images here, it pulls up that they come in a pair. So what these do, and it's not to do with the air intake, this sits down here like this somewhere. Once everything's put back together, it'll make more sense, and then that tube lets air in and cools back in there the brake. So this must be like a Z06 Grand Sport exclusive thing, which is really darn cool. So when I get the car back up in the air, we can see there's a little torn thing here. That's not a big deal. We'll be able to figure out how to mount this. And is there one on the other side? I mean, I didn't even see it. Yeah, there's not one on the other side. So they're missing from this car. I've got obviously only one of them. So probably need to order another one of those. Another thing I have to figure out is why this tire isn't holding any air. Like I said, the car drove up on a curb to avoid a major accident, and in doing so damaged a lot of the underneath front components. Now this tire would have hit the curb first, and I would think that this tire would take the most amount of trauma, but it's holding air just fine. Now that doesn't mean that this tire couldn't have lost air or been damaged in transport or at the auction lot or anywhere really. So I've gotten on the floor, I've looked underneath in the back here. There's no holes, no rips, nothing I can see. So right now we're gonna just remove the whole wheel and tire, and there's a chance that maybe just the bead broke on it, which would be good because these tires are $325 with tires. They are very expensive and they have a little bit of meat left on them. The other thing is this has a wheel lock, and I don't have the wheel lock, so I'm just going to hammer a socket on there and turn it off. All right, an 18 millimeter just won't fit over it, 19's too big. Now we did this with the other couple and we had luck with them. Last thing I have is this right here. This is a 19 millimeter. This is for like stripped nuts. And this should go on there and grab a hold of it and just rip it off, which is what we want to do. And we're gonna have to do it to the other side too, because we don't have the key for that. And I mean, I'm sure you could send a picture and order the key and all this stuff. I'd rather just not have a key, period. So let's try this guy. All right, these right here, I know you guys are gonna tell me, oh, but it protects the wheels and all that. They're stupid. It sucks, especially when you buy a used car, especially when you buy an auction car. There is a special tool that you can hammer on there, and I have them. I just don't have them with me. So we're gonna have to wait to get to this wheel tire thing next time, which, that's frustrating. But at least we're gonna come around here and finish up by test fitting. Well, you know what? This side is all glued up. Let's try this side, because the ECU is all in pieces over there. This is all glued. Look, now I'm gonna do this just a little bit. See, I'm moving it like before. It's not moving at all. This glue is all dried here. It's dried down here. It's all really nice. I've got the other side going now. Let's try and test fit one of our fenders, which is right over there. So what do you guys think? The hood isn't closed, that's why you see that gap there, but otherwise it lines up pretty darn good. I don't know if this is supposed to go all the way to the top or not, and I'm looking here. I mean, it fits really well. The lines go together really well. So I think that door gap is pretty good here. We'll go ahead and throw power to the car and make sure that the door opens up well, but it looks like it will. And otherwise, underneath, one of the mounting tabs where this fender mounts underneath was ripped off. But it's under there. I'll be able to fix that and make a really nice strong mounting point for it. And let's see here, if we open this slowly. When you do this the first time, you always want to open things slowly. It looks like it might be rubbing a little bit on the top, which just means you're going to want to pull it over a little bit. But let's see here. Try that again. I'll put the camera there while I'm doing it. Actually, I don't think it's touching as much as it looks like it is. Let's see here. I don't think that it's touching. Doesn't mean that we can't move it over. I didn't really snug everything here. We'll be able to massage this back into place. But at least, here, we'll close it, see what happens. It looks good. At least you get an idea of what this thing is going to look like when it's finished. Thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think about these things here? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm personally not the biggest fan, but they definitely match the nice gunmetal wheels. And for right now, they're in good shape, so I think I'm going to end up leaving them. All we got to do is put the rest of that on, get the headlights finished. Oh, those are almost there, guys, I promise. And then put the front bumper on, which is right there. Everything that goes along with the front bumper is there, so we're good to go there. So this is finally coming together, and my goal for the next Corvette video is to have this car drive out of here completely, and you know, I take it for a little test ride, make sure it works and have a little bit of fun in it. I've had one of these C6 Corvettes before and I absolutely loved it. These cars are a ton of fun, and for the price that we're gonna be in this car, it's gonna be an absolute bargain. Now, like I said, if you're not familiar much with this project, because you're a new subscriber, go back, check out some of the previous C6 Corvette videos, and you'll learn everything from how much it cost me to why this car was totaled. And as always, if you have any questions for me, just let me know. All my contact information is in the description box below. Thanks a whole lot for watching, and I will catch you very soon.